this has been visited before in England and Wales last year. Far too late in the day, really, but a bit of controversy got up around it, and I think it was the Free Speech Union that highlighted this, and they were able to change police practice in England and Wales. Here it is here. Now let's just scroll through it in order to analyse what we're talking about here. A new statutory code of practice has come into force for officers and staff responding to reports of non-crime hate incidences. The code, issued by the Home Secretary, provides guidance to the police in England and Wales for recording non-crime hate incidents. For some reason, the Home Secretary thought good to tell police in England and Wales, but did not extend the guidance to Scotland. Now that will be because of the devolved situation, which just shows you how we also lose out when sensible things come in England and Wales, and they leave it to Humza Yousaf and the Scottish Parliament, of all people, to sort it out here in Scotland. Anyway, the code introduces an additional threshold test. This clarifies that personal data should only be included in a non-crime hate incident record if the event presents a real risk of either significant harm to individuals or groups with a particular characteristic, or a future criminal offence being committed against individuals or groups with a particular characteristic. In other words, you'd have to be a very serious case for them to do that, for them to continue to note your details. Here we have Chief Constable Andy Marsh saying, a new code and guidance are now in place for officers when responding to non-crime hate incidences. These incidents should not be recorded where they are trivial, irrational, or if there is no basis to conclude that an incident was motivated by hostility. Furthermore, under the code, if an individual's personal data is processed as part of an NCHI, that is a non-crime hate incident, they should be promptly notified unless the notification presents a safeguarding risk to the complainant. They should be promptly notified. Well, people like Murdo Fraser there were not even notified at all until they found out themselves. And so this is what Suella Braverman had to say. Catching dangerous criminals and bringing them to justice should be the police's primary focus, and I have been clear that in recording non-crime hate incidents, officers must always have freedom of expression at the forefront of their minds. I am pleased that the College of Policing has published updated operational guidance to ensure the code of practice approved by Parliament is applied consistently. Now, the police will only record non-crime hate incidents when it is absolutely necessary and proportionate, and not simply because someone is offended. Well, hallelujah. 3 cheers for that. That was brought in, though, as I say, in England and Wales back in June 2023. It's not been brought in Scotland. They've left it to the Scottish Parliament. They've left it to the Scottish Parliament to deal with that. And of course, if you leave it to the Scottish Parliament to deal with it, it's never going to be dealt with, and we're never going to have something as sensible as that. So what we have to hope is that somebody, a high-profile person like an MSP, like Murdo Fraser, he does take it to court. And if the court finds that it has a case, and there will be no doubt that the England and Wales precedent will be very persuasive to the Scottish court, if the Scottish judge finds that Murdo Fraser has a case under Freedom of Expression Article 10 and or the Equality Act and or data protection and considering the state of affairs in England and Wales. And quite frankly, I am optimistic because I think it's a no-brainer. I think the judge will definitely follow the precedent in England and Wales, no question about it, which will then put pressure upon Humza Yousaf and Holyrood to change the guidance for Police Scotland. Because it has to happen, because otherwise they're going to be logging all of these incidents which are not sufficient to be considered crimes. They're going to be logging all these incidents which are just people calling each other names and which are just consisting of people being offended by various points of view. They're going to be logging all this frivolous stuff, all of this vexatious stuff, all of this trivial stuff, and it's going to be an absolute colossal waste of police time. And the police will definitely want a much firmer guideline on what they should and should not do in that situation. So I'm optimistic that if Murdo Fraser does take this forward, then I'm very optimistic that at least hate incidents can change. The definition of a hate incident can change, and an awful lot of frivolous stuff will go by. But we'll still have the actual Hate Crime Scotland Act in place, and the question is, going forward, what's going to happen with that? To what extent is that going to remain on the books?